Hello, this is Vance, and this is Tuesday, March the 10th, 2015. And these are the CL trades for today using the slow hand method for price action. Equities markets were off today, Dow as well as the S&P 500. We look at, and of course in Canada, the TSX was off as well. Price of oil opened, it had reached an overnight high of 50.36 and kind of sold off from there. We had a little bit of recovery, some retracements, but really oil finished up. Low of the day was 48.20, so we had some unwinding of price of oil by almost $2. And so we had that. Well, it was over $2 from where the high was anyway. But again, it was most of there was a couple of retracements, and you think that price is going to come back up. Let's take a look at the overnight or the daily chart. If you look at the daily chart, here's this channel that I was talking about for the last couple of days. You can see from last week, we've been trading this, and we're at the low end of this channel today. I mean, this is the prices kind of sold off. It hasn't gone down below this. I mean, if anything, what I would be thinking of for tomorrow is to look at pricing somewhere in that neighborhood, and just as a thought going into tomorrow, the lows through here. And perhaps maybe looking at some on the daily chart, looking at maybe firmness around this 48.67 area. Maybe prices kind of maybe a retracement depending on how the market's open tomorrow. Keeping in mind tomorrow is the DOE report at 10:30. And so, depending on how that comes out, if we have if we have more of surplus, we might break this area. We might be heading down to maybe retesting this area. I don't know if that's really the situation, the way it's going to be, because you have to remember this is last week. See, price couldn't dip below 48.67 in the last 3 weeks or so. We've had surpluses in each of those time periods, and so you haven't seen price really get down there that low. I mean, you right down below $48, but that's the lowest been over the last few trading sessions. But that's something to keep in mind. But let's talk about today, like pricing, particularly when you look at the overnight low. Originally, the overnight low was neighborhood of, let me just kind of mark it out here. Right at 49.46. This is just before the open at 9 o'clock. And you see price pulled back, tight trading range formed up. You see price moved down to here, pulled back, pulled down again. Now, do you get in long at this area? Well, I'm looking at this as fairly strong move overnight, looking perhaps for a measured move, particularly from here when price failed, and then we had this another testing at this area, and you can see off of the EMA, price had trouble closing. It closed above the EMA, but on this somewhat bullish bar, or a bearish bar, I mean, and then price really kind of dropped away. Room to get in, you're probably looking at maybe a limit order in, like limiting in. Stop has to be above these areas here, and you think you're going to retest this area, and you can see that what happened is that price not only moved down, pulled back, but you can see it moved down here, and it really kind of found some support down at this level. So you had to really be in. There's no real way to get in this price. So we had another pullback to here. Kind of a way to get in here again, like you see, first pullback, second pullback to this area, to the EMA. Again, you could have gotten in on this trade. I mean, it's a pretty strong bar. You have some room. I marked it in red. It's probably a pretty, it's a pretty strong bar to go in, but again, it has to be, maybe I should have marked it in green, but it's too late now, I won't change it. But the resistance here went a little bit further, and then we had this turnaround. Now, I would think that this area here is really the same move, even though we had a slight pullback. When price got down to here, I believe this is a trap. We had the first pullback. This is a second entry long right here off the bottom. Marked it in green because maybe we're going to be testing this area, and there's some room to get out. So if you look at it from this perspective, 49.15 to get to these areas right here, 49.33. So there is room. Price broke up higher, and if we mark this as the top of the range, price comes up, it fails down this area. Anytime you get in here, we seems to be some resistance right across this area, this mid area right here, from these double bottoms, or this double bottom here through this area and this area. So you have first resistance right at this area, or support, it appears. It does break through, but then comes back down. Hesitation at this area, comes back down, tests again. Another area tests back, and tests again, and really can't go down any further. I mark this in green, but these orders, to get in at this level, you really have to buy blind, and you have to put a limit order in right at these bottoms. That's why it's marked in green. You could do the same here, like have a sell order near the top, but after we've retested this area, pulled back even a little bit lower, I'm not thinking that we're going to be much shorter off of this. I think that maybe there's room to get out, and this is where I say that the first move is up here. We have the first move up, pulls back first time down to here, moves up, pulls back the second time, and now again it's an aggressive trade. You're probably looking at getting, if you get in here, but your stop needs to be below these areas right here. Now if you're one tick below, well, you're going to get kind of punched out on this one right here. So if it gets into overlap, you probably look at breaking out, like closing out the trade at break even. But then you can see a fairly strong bar at the end. If you add these bars together, you can see that it really is a reasonably strong bar, especially this last one. So it's a pretty strong bullish bar, and you can see that it had enough energy to move out. So if you look at the first move up, pulls back twice, and then it really tested. So this would have been, this is a decent trade had you get in low enough. You could have gotten in on this one, especially when you move these bars up here like this, and create this channel to retest this area. You say broke through, came back, retested this area, and another opportunity again, second entry long off these bottoms again. And I thought we were on the way to moving its way up, but when price got to this high, it got these double tops, we had this hesitation. And once we got the hesitation, the overlap, there just wasn't enough room to get up. I mean, you might think that we might go a little bit higher, but there wasn't really a great setup because of this overlap. Conglomeration, I think, is the other way around, looking at maybe selling out for the side of the channel. And had you done that, we did have some hesitation and then started moving lower. And once we had this first move, it moved down to here. We have this pullback. Again, a fairly strong bar to go for a lower movement. Pulls back down to here. We have almost a repeat pattern of this area. Like repeat here, so to go lower. And you can see a very similar pattern. Pulls back here and goes lower. But instead of going through here, it starts to fail even lower than that. It hits some minor support. And then you can see maybe just chop around for the rest of the day. This is after 2 o'clock. But again, most of the time that once we got beyond the, oops, let me just move this back here. Once we got beyond noon, price really just kind of failed off of that. 11 o'clock, 10:30, I guess maybe 10:30 is when the high, like 11 o'clock, price started to move its way down. And this was pretty decent run. Coming back here, I marked these other ones charts. Now, I'm always about support and resistance, and these lines here, these cross lines, looking at where the previous highs were and previous lows, always looking to the left side of the chart. Again, these ones right, these vertical or horizontal lines that I put in here, these double lines, for try to designate or delineate the tops and bottom of these ranges. So this area right here, this trade would be continuation pattern. Price trades up into this range and trades up and out of this range. Another second entry long off the bottom of this channel. Once it gets down to this area, it trades down, kind of pull back, another continuation trade down here. And if you even look at it from this perspective, the first move down to this area, we have the pullback to here, and it fails again, down to here, pulls back, and then all of a sudden you can say that even fails even further. And you can see right down to this area, but once it gets down to this level, we have a little bit of hesitation. Maybe it looked like price was trying to continue to move farther down. Didn't quite make it, but we had these more significant pullback. But it's getting later in the day, so we're close to 2 o'clock here, and now we've after 2:30, price is moving back up. So as you can see, and I'll just kind of reiterate what I'm looking as far as the 1440 chart is concerned. This coordinates it. You can see that this is where we are right now. Really at the bottom of this channel. So my thoughts are going into tomorrow that if we get some kind of support here, we might be moving up back into this range on a longer term basis. Now, the only reason I'm showing you this from here is because it's kind of squished together. Using this on the 800 tick chart, you just have to take in too much information. It just doesn't line up the same way. So it's just easier to see it on this particular chart to see where prices, and I think this area about 40.77. So we look at where bottom of this range over the last few weeks, and that given that maybe some of the sell-off of price of oil is in sympathy to the sell-off on the stock markets, the equity markets, that would be my guess anyways at this point in time. But we'll wait and see what the overnight brings, and then look at it for tomorrow. I hope this helps you. If you have any questions, please let me know. That was it for today. If you bye for now.